Hey, sub! I know it's been a while since we were all on an intense hunt searching for it, but you remember the true ending, right? You know, the one where Mr. P tells us all about his story and reveals all the missing details. Well, kind of anyway. In my opinion, the true ending is lame. Considering it was so hyped up, I wanted a big finale to the Piggy story. Something that completely changed what we all thought we knew about Piggy. And that's why today, you're gonna be showing us 6 Piggy endings that everybody wants in Roblox Piggy. Number 1. The true ending. Now, sub, we all know about how underwhelming the true ending was. I mean, Mr. P just answered a few questions, and then it transitioned to the good ending anyway. Well, not anymore. Remember at the end of the good ending where you and your newfound friends, Zizzy, Pony, and George, are all discussing creating a cure before you walk off as the credits roll? Well, instead of the credits rolling, this ending would continue. You follow on from where you left off as you, Zizzy, Pony, and George, all split up searching for the ingredients to a cure. You face difficulties along the way, such as being surrounded by piggy monsters and getting lost. But with the true power of friendship, you see it through. Eventually, after months of experimenting, you created a cure that really cures the piggy infection. And since you're so certain, you purposely become infected, just to become uninfected right after using your very own cure. I didn't know what Mr. P was doing when creating his cure, but he certainly could have done with a helping hand from you, sub. Now that you have your perfect cure, you start curing all the infected piggies you can, each happier to see you than the last. Finally, you brought everyone together, and everyone's now back to their regular selves. And then the credits roll. Boom! That's the real true ending, sub. Do we even need to continue the video? Oh, well, I suppose there's one problem. If that's how the game ended, we'd never get a Piggy 2. I think it's time to go back to brainstorming, sub. Number 2. The really bad ending. Now, don't get me wrong, sub. The bad ending is, well, definitely bad. I mean, not much could be worse than going on this long journey to find Mr. P, just to have some random badger piggy oof you at the last second. But I've got a way we can make the ending even worse. Fast forward a few months. The entire world of Piggy has been torn to shreds after Mr. P revealed that he didn't have a cure for the piggy infection. You revisit all the old maps that sparked your initial Piggy journey. The house has since been destroyed and is now inhabited with a ton of infected piggies looking for humans to infect. The station has become less of a safe place and more of a hotspot for piggies. But most importantly of all, the mall where you first found George Piggy. What's up? I'm telling a story. Oh, right. You want to tell everybody to subscribe to the channel. Well, I suppose that is important, especially if you're enjoying this video, because we make tons more just like it, and it's the best way to make sure you never miss one. But anyway, as I was saying, the mall where you first found George Piggy is being taken over by the piggies. Now, this probably wouldn't be a problem, right, sub? Well, it wouldn't be a problem if it wasn't for George Piggy hiding inside the exact same spot that we found him in our adventure. But it gets worse, sub. George Piggy is the last uninfected person in the Piggy universe. And just like that, he's infected, meaning the entire world has now been infected. And that's what I call a bad ending. But, yeah. Once again, there's no way to make a sequel from that. Back to the drawing board. Number 3. Mystery Solver. If there's one thing that made the true ending so underwhelming, it's the number of questions that went unanswered. Pros like you, sub, already knew all about what happened throughout Piggy. And where there were gaps in your ideas, theories quickly filled them. The things players really wanted to know was the answers to unanswered questions. Just like, who's TSP? Is he the super potato? Who knows, sub? Maybe it's not someone at all. Maybe the notes were talking about the 7 potions Mr. P made instead. But the unanswered mysteries don't end there, sub. Remember all of those different notes scattered around the various maps, made to give us clues about the story? Well, some of them aren't even signed, so we have no idea who wrote them. But to make things worse, you can't even completely read some of them, so we'll never know what they said. I think the perfect ending would be one where all the unanswered questions were answered, and then there would be no more mystery to Piggy. I mean, sure, this would kill theories for good, but who cares? I want to know who's behind the TSP notes. Also, if you're wondering why we're so desperate to get an ending that can be continued to Piggy 2, it's because Minitoon himself recently revealed in an interview that he will in fact be creating a Piggy 2. You won't have to stop making Piggy videos after all, sub. Number 4. The Dream Ending. Hooray! Sub's Blox World has finally hit 10 million subscribers! Let's hear it for Sub! Hip hip hooray! Hip hip hooray! Sub! Hey, Sub! Wake up! You were just dreaming. Speaking of dreaming, that's exactly what this next theory is about. It may not be the most imaginative of endings, but it certainly is possible. I mean, it's certainly not realistic that you would be running away from an evil Peppa Pig monster. But even more unlikely is that you being the main character of a story where you search for a living potato. Don't you find it strange, Sub? You know that you're the only human in this entire game. But it might not be all a dream, Sub. What if you only started dreaming after you passed out at the end of Chapter 5? The whole time you could have been dreaming about Mr. P abandoning you while you're passed out, when in actuality, he was by your side the entire time, with him and Bunny both working to try and find a cure together. And it's only at the end of Chapter 12 that you finally wake up. Hey, are you enjoying the video so far? Then make sure to drop a like. That way you can help support the channel and show Sub that he should make more videos just like this one. Number 5. The Betrayal Ending. Sub, I've come up with one of the most shocking endings of all, because what you didn't realize is that the real evil character in the Piggy story was right under your nose the entire time, and you didn't know it. The truly evil character of Piggy is in fact George Piggy. George! How could you? I bet you're wondering just what I'm talking about. Well, I'll tell you everything. This entire time, you thought George Piggy was the friendly, innocent, kind-hearted protagonist of the story. However, his story is far more sinister. The normal story goes that the entire family became infected, apart from George Piggy. Well, that wasn't because George was left out of the trial, Sub. It's because George was working with Mr. P and sent his family off, knowing they would become infected. However, the betrayal doesn't end there, Sub. After meeting you on Chapter 10, George wanted to infect you too, but he knew he couldn't do it with Zizzy and Pony hanging around. So we finally got you alone at the end of Chapter 12. And instead of Badgie walking up from behind you, it was George who creeped up behind you. And then, whack! And then you wake up as an infected Piggy, and the credits roll. George, how could you do this? Number 6. The Mayhem Ending. Hey, Sub! I bet one thing you've always wanted to do is get your own back on Piggy for chasing you around all those times, and all around those different maps, right? Well, maybe this next ending might not be the most realistic, but it would most certainly be satisfying to play through. Remember that one tank mechanic on the Outpost map? Well, we're gonna go back to that for this ending. After finally giving Mr. P the photo to snap him out of his evil trance, he reveals to you that he rigged the plant with explosives and attached the Piggy infection potions to them, so that the potions will explode and infect everyone near them. You're left with no choice but to quickly run out and grab the tank from the outpost. Once you're in the tank, you'll need to line up the shot and then kaboom! Once you've blown the plant to pieces and destroyed Mr. P's plan, you get to go on an explosive rampage, going from map to map, destroying all evidence of the Piggy infection. And finally, you get to go back to where it all began, the house map. Take aim and fire. And that marks the end of the Piggy story. Well, Sub, I did say it was unrealistic, but it would certainly be a fun experience. Do you have any ending ideas of your own? Tell us about them in the comments down below. Of course, they won't be added to Chapter 12 since we already know how that ends. But it would certainly be fun to theorize about how Piggy 2 might end, or even just come up with alternatives for the Chapter 12 ending. Do you see, Sub? I told you I could come up with something better than the true ending. Maybe my suggested endings could even be added into Piggy 2. Wouldn't that be, cool? Well, that would depend if there even was a Piggy 2. Thanks for watching, everyone. Make sure to use the star code SUB at checkout whenever you're buying Robux or Roblox Premium. We'll see you next time, Sub. Bye-bye.